Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us here in the Rochester Press Box. I'm Bill Pucko, joined by Tariq Spence, WDKX. How you doing, man?
Nice hot cup of coffee to start the day.
The only man in town without a podcast. Love this guy. You're wearing, a few guys I remember interviewing when he was a freshman in McQuaid. Destined for stardom.
Beef stew, baby. Isaiah Stewart, Rochester's own Detroit Pistons. And, well, by the way, he can shoot the three now. When the hell did that happen?
Another but practice, my friend.
Come on.
Gotta
to be a legitimate
Your big
NBA
has to be
these
able to
days.
shoot the three.
Yeah, but he's a big, though. I mean, like, the big can shoot the three. That's a legitimate 80s big shooting 3 points. That's, Kurt Rambis shooting. That doesn't matter. Go ahead.
So the Buffalo Bills, this got a lot dicier than I ever thought I'd see it 9 games into the season.
Well, I mean, I'd like to know if Pat is worried, because I think you should be. I mean, this is a team that is really at a crossroads. Their offense should be way better than it is right now. They are not performing at the level they need to be. Now, to his defense, the NFL across the board has all gone down. To his defense, because I already know what he's saying.
No, it's not what I was gonna say.
The NFL, if you look at the Kansas City Chiefs, you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, they've all performed at a lower level. Offense is really down. But for the Buffalo Bills, it's not even just so that. It's the fact that they're seeing other teams like Cincinnati stay in your head, which I warned you about last week.
Okay. No,
did I not warn you?
Look, I'm in my head. Okay, hold on. Pause.
I did it. I warned him. He just won't admit it.
We're going to take one step at a time here. I am devastated since the NFL changed that rule where the league season's over at week 9 and they didn't make the playoffs. Right? When you guys saw that this week, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, wait, no, that didn't happen? There's still 8 games left in this season to go play. Are you out of your mind right now?
Are you out of your mind?
And I love how you say Cincinnati's in your head.
Yes.
The Bills' offense played horribly. The defense at the last series had 4 opening day starters on the field. 4. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Despite that, they were a Von Miller missed tackle away from getting the ball back with 2 minutes to go.
Wait. Do not go to the end of game scenarios, Von Miller sack away. You were also 2 drop passes away from losing 2 games you should have won.
You're 100% right, but that's how the NFL goes. It's like arguing that the Vikings are a good team because they won all those games last year and lost them in 1 possession this year. Yes.
Vikings are a little bit better.
You're out of your mind.
A little bit better.
Well, direct us to the bigger picture.
The bigger picture here is figuring out what makes this offense work. And yes, they haven't been able to do it. There is a clear disconnect, whether it's between Ken Dorsey and Josh Allen, whether it's Ken Dorsey allowing Sean McDermott to get his thumbs in the offense where Brian Daboll didn't. We know that they had a rough relationship. We saw it with the handshake after that game against the Giants. If I am Sean McDermott, my job now is to take my hands off and let this kid save his job. Do it. Because I think right now in the offseason, the Bills are looking for an offensive coordinator. And at this point, what do you have to lose? McDermott himself, and I'm sorry to ramble, said after the game, and I'm paraphrasing, when asked why they didn't go up tempo against the Bucs, we decided we wanted to give the Bengals a couple more looks, which tells me that if you let Dorsey do his thing, if he's going to fail, let him fail on his own.
They've lost 4 games. Mm-hmm. Except for Cincinnati, in my mind, I see these teams as teams that Buffalo either should have, certainly could have beaten, and are probably better than.
Well, it's bizarre. What I was concerned about last week was Burrow coming in a little bit healthier than he had been to start the NFL season and having sort of this psyche against the Buffalo Bills, which I was warning about. But the other interesting too, nobody says the season's over for the Bills. I said the season was over. It's not over.
Oh, okay.
It's the fact that they are not in sync offensively. When this is an offensive team, now I get it, defensively, McDermott and all the different things that are concerned, but it's how they're winning the games and how they're losing the games that concern me the most. The NFL is still right for the picking.
It's so hot and cold. It's absolutely madness.
It's inconsistent. You got to be concerned about that.
Yes, I agree with you. But again, we're watching the Bills on a weekly basis. Every NFL team goes through stuff like this. There are 3 points.
This seems extreme.
Okay, well, 3 points I will make for you. 1, the Bills are still 3rd in the NFL in point differential, which is one of the easiest ways to measure how good a team is. No problem there. 2, the Bills get hot under McDermott in the second half of the season. I believe there's something like 17-3 in the last 3 years over the last 8 games of the season. Hit your stride, make it work. 3, the Dolphins are more of a fraud team than any team I've ever seen in my life. You don't have to worry about them.
And yet that national media is calling Buffalo that.
Okay, great. Mark my words. The Bills will win the AFC East this season. The Bills will win the AFC East this season.
Last word.
Save the tape.
Here he goes again.
Watch
I'm
it.
really concerned about the chemistry of this team, the coaching of this team, going down the stretch. Just because it's happened before doesn't. This is a little bit different, Duffy. You know this.
How so?
This is not the same Buffalo Bills team. You go into every single game. You were blowing teams out the first half of the season, the first 4 or 5
There were
games of the year.
Three games where it happened.
And what I'm worried about is that you're not worried about the close wins. You should be worried about the close wins as well as the close losses.
Okay, but what about the close losses? I mean, if you want to make that argument, we can do it the other way, too. You got New England and you got Cincinnati, all within a game where you should have had the ball back on the way. If they won those 2 games, are we having the same discussion at, 8-3?
True. This is the Rochester Press Box. The Bills are hosting the Denver Broncos on a Monday night, and we're making our picks next. Just passing through. Life lessons from notable Rochesterians, people you may think you know. Don Alhart, Maggie Brooks, John Dady, and Stacy Pension, J. Mack and Soccer Sam, Fred Costello, and Jake Zembeck, along with 21 more. How they all got from there to here. It's a new book by Bill Pucko, available for $12 postpaid only from rocksportsnow.com. Try it, and thank you. Our NFL Pick segment in the Rochester Press Box, brought to you by Connors and Ferris, your trusted and dedicated workers' comp attorneys and official sponsor of the Buffalo Bills. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box. Our pick segment is brought to you by Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys. Greg's joined us. How you doing, man?
Oh, it's been a rough couple of days, Bill, but I'm back, and I think
For reasons other than the football team?
No, it's been the football team. It's been our football team.
Priorities, right?
Yeah.
Life has nothing to do with any of this.
No, it's all how the Bills go, and it takes me all the way to the next game, and if they win, then I get happier again.
There you
Well,
go.
so you heard the first segment. Give us your brief synopsis of how much trouble this team is in.
Yeah, I'm concerned about this offense. I don't see Dorsey providing any continuity. They don't have an identity. The identity is the inconsistency of Dorsey's play calling, and that is not a good recipe going in the future. I think if he can correct that and he can find himself an identity, he can utilize the talent that he's been given, I think maybe he can begin to see the turnaround. But they're doing things completely inconsistent, and the team just looks in disarray on offense.
You know, that's like the go-to. I feel like it's the one thing the fans feel they can get a grip on is play calling. And the offensive coordinator is always in the crosshairs as far as fans go.
Are you worried about the adjustments? Because, I mean, the first play out, you guys look amazing. And then after that, it's like you don't score a point again until, the fourth quarter?
But again, I think it all comes down to the overall game plan, where McDermott himself, like I said they wanted to give him different looks. It looks like he was worried about the depth of his defense, and he wanted to try and slow the game
he's
down.
blaming Dorsey. Is it Dorsey's fault? Is Dorsey
Yes.
enemy number one?
Yes.
I mean, listen, we've moved off of Josh Allen as he let Josh be Josh, and it's gone to Dorsey because it's gone on for a couple of weeks now.
All right, we got 2 weeks in a row, Greg, that we need. I think Buffalo really has to win these next 2 games because they're winnable. It's Denver and the Jets. The home game Monday night. The line is 7.5. How do you see it?
They definitely have to win these 2 games, and I hope I'm wrong because I see the Bills winning the game. I don't think the Bills can cover, though. I don't think this offense, the way it's going right now, is going to win by 7.5 points. I do hope that they score more than 24 and then they win the game, but I don't see them covering the spread here this week.
Yeah, Denver's been playing a little better. How do you see it?
I'm a little nervous of Denver because they have something to prove. I'm not sure about the Bills even winning the game, but I will go with the Bills. I don't think they cover. Listen, I'm concerned about this playing. You know what it is? The Bills are playing down to the teams that they're playing, and that's got to be a worrisome moment for you. They look for an explosion, but I don't know. I'm not sure what they
Okay, so just to be clear, I don't think they're going to win, but I'm going to take them, but they're not going to cover, and I don't think they're going to score the points. Look for an explosion. Look, Tariq is literally covering every part of the picnic table, so next week you can be like, oh, see, I told you guys. What did I tell you?
That's how it's
Very smart, by the way. Go ahead.
2-0 in a week, you can do that.
Yeah, you need to get that in.
Look, you guys keep saying your stuff. I'm a game behind. This is my supervillain origin story, and
my
when I win
goodness.
this thing by 2 games by the end of the season, I will not.
You are
shut
not allowed.
up
You are
until
not
next
allowed to
September.
say work ever again after saying supervillain origin
I
story.
learned it from you.
Pick the Bills.
The Bills win. The Bills cover. Look, I mean, it's Denver. It's a team that gave up 70 points to Miami. It's a team that beat a down Chiefs team. That was their Super Bowl this season. Sean Payton is an overrated coach. I don't know what Russell Wilson is thinking. Yes, they're going to win, and they're going to win by 7.5.
I got no reasons for it. I'll take the Bills. I'll take the Bills to cover. I'm going to take the Lions playing at the Chargers and giving some points. I like Detroit coming off a bye. What do you got as the second game?
I still like Detroit as well. My second game, I got the 49ers. Kyle Shanahan's record after buys is unbelievable. I think it's 70%. So I think 49ers are ready to play.
Hey, what was his record after losing 2 straight games?
I don't know. What's McDermott's record in the second half of the year?
Good, I just told you.
What do you got?
The Bengals are favored by 6.5 against the Texans. Man, CJ Stroud, holy cow. Holy cow, can that kid play? And I don't think the Bengals are as good as everybody thinks they are. They showed the Bills were in that game despite playing terribly up until that last drive. Von Miller makes a tackle. They're driving the other way to try and win that game. I like the Texans to cover the 6.5.
That game by Stroud came off 2 soft games, so maybe it was like, he's good, but maybe that came out of nowhere. Greg, what's your second game?
I'm going with the 49ers. Their last 3 games they've lost, they've only scored 17 points. The 5 games they won, they scored more than 30. You've got Debo, you've got McCaffrey, you got Kittle playing, and I think they're gonna put up big numbers here.
Man, this is great because I'm gonna get a game on both of them. You guys should get an apartment together. Are you guys looking for something? Just
Keep your mic on for crying out loud.
That's how hot my takes are. It's blowing off my chest.
Oh, my goodness.
Thank you, Greg. Good luck with your picks this week. Our pick segment brought to you by Mr. Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys. Like or not, it's next.
Here's the Press Box Trivia question brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road.
I hope you're hungry. Mike O'Brien, your getaway guy. I've got 4 of my favorite secret food finds here in Rochester. We're going international. Just look for the Getaway Guy on Facebook.
Here's the Press Box Trivia answer brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
Welcome back, and thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box. Our Like It or Not segment is brought to you by Sport Clips, where the MVP experience is better than ever. Sport Clips is a game changer. No appointments are needed. Stop by a Rochester location today. Like it or not, Pat, the mess the University of Michigan finds itself in.
I mean, is this surprising to anybody? I mean, Harbaugh's always been a strange guy. Wherever he goes, controversy kind of follows. Even in the NFL, where controversy by head coaches is hard to find. I'm not surprised by this. He was pushed up against a wall the first couple of years he was at Michigan. You're going to do everything you can. And by the way, I do not believe a word he or his staff says when they're like, oh, I didn't know that this thing we were clearly taking advantage of was being done illegally by someone on our staff.
It's like the conference is eating its young in this case. There's a lot of money to be gained by Michigan being good, and they're just trying to take them down. It makes no sense.
It makes perfect sense. It's called haterade, but at any rate, I don't understand what is going on. Why are you giving me that look?
I'm not that way.
I don't. You know what's funny? Everyone's doing it. Everyone knows everyone's doing it. No one wants to go to headsets because everyone is doing it. So why is Michigan paying for it?
The way that the Big Ten is reacting, I don't think other people in the Big Ten are doing it. I think the other schools assume that they would get caught had they done it. I'm not saying they're better. I think that's where this glass of haterade is coming from, Tariq.
But this seems like such a nothing issue.
I disagree. I disagree strongly.
A cell phone by a guy in I don't know.
No, but he bought tickets on both sides of the 50-yard line, if you believe the reports, and he's videotaping both teams' signals. I mean, look, they were a second-half team, a massive second-half team the last couple of years.
They could have hired you to do that.
They could have, but they weren't smart enough because I'm not going to be an idiot that buys tickets in my own name, 2 pair of seats on both sides of the stadium.
Well, that's what I mean. It just seems like... I don't know why it's even
wait until other college football teams get caught doing it, and this will be a non-story.
All right. Like it or not, Craig Counsell gets a job with the Chicago Cubs, and your Mets wanted him.
Oh, yeah, we did. We were in the running for it all until it all came in for the Cubs, who already had a manager, which is bizarre to me. But when did managers start snaking other managers for jobs now? Like, is the marketplace gotten to that level where now, you know what, managers don't do this with one another, but now teams are doing it with managers?
Well, the simple answer is yes, right?
And look, it's as simple as you look at what a AAA manager makes versus what a Major League manager makes. That's why they're snaking each other for jobs now, because the manager pay has gone up the last couple of years.
The Cubs look awful in this, though. I mean, they were 2 games out of a playoff spot. No one expected them to contend, and they had a manager in David Ross that everyone seemed to like.
Well, you know, now they become the new villains and the targets of baseball going forward. Everybody's going to want to beat the Cubs, but how did that work out for the Houston Astros?
Like it or not, brought to you by Sports Clips. Unfinished Business is next.
The Press Box Stat of the Week is being brought to you by McArdle's Restaurant in Fairport. Come home to McArdle's.
Came now to Eichel. He floated one. Score!
Welcome back, and thanks for joining us here in the Rochester Press Box. It's time for Unfinished Business. As always, Pat, start us.
All right, I don't mean to sound like crazy old guy. We are smack dab in the beginning of the NBA new in-season tournament to make things more exciting and make these regular season games count. And I'm going to be honest, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. They're trying to spice it up with these new courts that all these teams are playing on. I don't get that. I can't follow the ball half the time. Do you hear me now? You're making me sound like a 70-year-old man, NBA. I get that they're doing what they think soccer is doing, but here's the thing. It's not what soccer is doing because there's precedent for that and the fans are into it. What does it mean if you win an in-season tournament and don't win an NBA championship? What does it mean if you win both of those things? Why do these teams even care whether or not they make this play-in playoff game? And there are going to be teams that end up playing more games in the tournament, but then other teams have to make them up because they all count for regular season games. I'm very confused. I don't know what's happening. The NBA can make this very simple. If you want to make this matter, give the team that wins automatic home court advantage throughout the playoffs if they qualify, no matter what seed they are. Bet you they try then, or just chop a couple of games off the front and back end of the season and make every game matter more. That'll keep teams from resting players in cities they don't need them to play. But a gimmicky thing with all kinds of bright courts, I love basketball. I don't love this.
Sports media, do not fall for this again with Aaron Rodgers. These games where he shows up in prime time on the sidelines, rehabbing from an Achilles injury, we know takes more than 6 months to come back from. Don't do this. Don't fall down this path of watching him or seeing what he says to different players about a number of different things. Who cares when he comes back? He should be rehabbing, and that's all he should be doing. Nope, you decide to catch one bit of a conversation, one piece of a conversation, and of course, everybody's wondering, when is Aaron Rodgers coming back? Why don't you worry about Zach Wilson? And oh, by the way, if you don't want to play Zach Wilson, who the hell do you want to play? There's no one else out there that can suit up right now for the quarterback. If you wanted to make a run at this season, you would have done it at the trade deadline and gotten a guy, I don't know, Dobbs was available, and then he went to Minnesota. So I don't want to hear anything about Aaron Rodgers or Aaron Rodgers' plans or his thoughts on anything. Rehab, get better, get ready for the next season. He's not coming back this year. Why do we keep falling for this?
It took me 20 years to become an overnight sensation. Singer-songwriter Bonnie Raitt said that. It took her 18 years, actually, from the time of her first album release to reach commercial success. Now, the same could be said of Joshua Dobbs. Not in years so much as is the path he took. Dobbs was a 28-year-old, soon to become career journeyman quarterback, playing for the dreadful Arizona Cardinals. Arizona was the 3rd NFL uniform he'd worn this year alone, bringing his 8-year career total to 6. Then at the trading deadline, the Minnesota Vikings made it 7. Desperate for a quarterback after Kirk Cousins went down for the season, they got Dobbs for next to nothing, the swap of a 6th for a 7th-round draft pick. Dobbs arrived in Minnesota on a Wednesday. Was on the practice field with the team, but that was about it. All the reps went to rookie Jaron Hill in an effort to get him ready for his first career start. Dobbs didn't get a single rep, not a single rep. Didn't know any of the playbook, didn't recognize most of his teammates, and that's how things stood when he was forced into that game in Atlanta last Sunday. Fill in your own analogy. In Dobbs' words, it was like taking advanced placement Spanish for a year and then being given the final in French. Taking the field in the first quarter, and after a rough start that included a lost fumble and surrendering a safety, Dobbs hung 31 points on the Falcons and led a game-winning touchdown drive in the closing seconds. Reaction from around the league was disbelief. Viking Hall of Fame quarterback Fran Tarkenton termed it impossible. In fact, Dobbs isn't your everyday walk-on. He's a spokesperson for children dealing with alopecia, a hair loss condition. He established a foundation to support educational empowerment. He is president of the University of Tennessee Alumni Board of Directors, where he graduated in 2017 with a 4.0 grade point average, majoring in aerospace engineering. If he weren't in the NFL, he'd be training to be an astronaut. Seriously. Narratives change quickly, and Dobbs may yet crash and burn in his first career start for the Vikings against the Saints on Sunday. But don't you have to root for this guy? That's our unfinished business, and that is our program. You know, Dobbs shares something with Josh Allen.
Yeah, a very handsome man just informed me that they both beat out Nate Peterman. Josh Dobbs beating out Nate Peterman in Tennessee, which transferred into Pitt.
Welcome to the club.
All that brilliancy, and the Jets still decided, nah, we'll skip on him and just
I know,
go with our
but it's
number one pick.
hindsight, because who saw it? No one could see this coming.
This is opportunity. I talked about this last week. Backup quarterbacks need to be prepared to play. This guy wasn't even prepared to play and was able to play.
Hey, thank you, guys. Hey, thanks for watching. We'll see you again next week on the Rochester Press Box.
Like you're not worried about your backup.
You just blew up your own point. You got to be prepared to play. This guy wasn't prepared to play. He looked great.